How we doing? Hope everybody's doing well. Why don't we go ahead and get started? Hey, Jack, how you doing? Looks like we're all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed after our event over the weekend. And that's good to go. That's good stuff. What we're going to do today is I'm going to just kind of present this as if we're just looking for like some information, like tell me a little more about solar. The information I'm going to go over is sort of as if you were brand new to solar. So this is what I want to build into sort of a client presentation. It might change in the near future, as we do this enough times, but I have found some information through Sunrun that I think is helpful in people understanding, one, how solar works, and two, what our offer is. And so I think those two things are really all we need to cover. I've also asked Sunrun for some different kind of materials, and they're working on it. So we'll see if we can get some more succinct information as well. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump into our information for today. So this information is basically right on the Sunrun website. And we're going to just review this information first for educational purposes. And then at the end, if you're a client and you're like, well, okay, now how do I get it? Or what's the cost or whatever? The second part will be for that. So getting into our presentation, and if you guys have any questions, go ahead and use the feature at the bottom, raise your hand or type it in the chat, and then we can address it at the end. In case you guys don't know, I'm Randy Wilson. I am working with iLeverage financial services company, and this financial services company has decided to merge the benefits of financial services like life insurance, retirement planning, investments, and merge that with the benefits of solar. And solar has many benefits that we're going to talk about here today. So your home, your energy, solar and storage are about to change the way you power your life. So I think that's important to recognize because, first of all, it suggests that we have choice and we should have choice. Obviously our home is probably the most important structure in our whole lives. And energy is obviously something that is a fixed necessity. Like, it's not going anywhere. We need power, we need energy. So we should be able to make a conscientious choice when it comes to powering or providing energy for the most important structure in our lives. We also want to recognize here that solar is today not what it used to be, maybe a short 5 or more years ago. There are many options and choices as far as acquiring solar that make it extremely beneficial and attractive, maybe attractive and beneficial. So let's talk about how all of this works together. So first of all, let's take a look at what is solar. Like, if someone says, hey, I'm going solar, well, what does that mean actually, right? Of course, we walk up and down the street, we see panels on the roof, and we go, that's solar, right? But there's actually, several components to the hardware that, gets attached to your home and gets implemented in addition to just those solar panels that look really cool on your roof. Solar panels convert the sunlight into direct current electricity, otherwise known as DC. So yeah, the panels on your roof is what collects the sun and turns it into electricity. Okay. Then there's an inverter. Your inverter tells energy where to flow and converts it into alternating current electricity, or AC, so it can be used in your home. All right. So, obviously you don't just have the sun shining up there and then you hold a light bulb up to the sun and it turns on. You have to convert this energy into a form that our home appliances and stuff can recognize. Then there's a battery. Your battery stores power for later use, like during a power outage or when utility prices are highest. So obviously, in this day and age, we recognize that not only is electricity expensive, especially during peak hours, somewhere between maybe like 4 and 7 p.m., but we also recognize that in today's day and age, our typical power suppliers are very susceptible to dramatic changes in weather. And when you look at the fact that in 100 years, our traditional power system has not been updated or upgraded or anything, we're still using the same model of powering homes and providing electricity that we did when it all began. Okay. So obviously we have to start opening our minds to looking at alternatives. There's the Sunrun meter. Solar production is measured and monitored by your Sunrun meter, so we can make sure your system is producing as much energy as possible. So obviously we're familiar with meters. We certainly have meters for our typical electricity. Then there's the main electrical meter. Your electrical panel distributes AC electricity to your entire home. You probably know it better by its other name, a fuse box. And if you've ever blown a fuse or thrown a fuse or whatever they call it, that box that you go and click the things back and forth to turn your lights back on. There's the backup panel. Your backup panel connects your battery to the breakers you choose to back up during installation. So, if there's a power outage, you want the power of your battery, which is going to last anywhere from 12 to 16 hours. You want that power targeted to the most critical areas in case of a blackout, right? Refrigerator, for example, and whatever else you might find is important to keep plugged in or to keep powered. Then there's the utility meter. When the sun is shining, you may get all of your energy from solar, but due to things like weather, winter, and nighttime, you will still have to buy some energy the old-fashioned way. All right. So solar does not mean that you're off the grid. Okay. So you want to keep that in mind as well, because we designed solar to produce a certain amount of power. Anything over that is going to be back to, your regular solar power provider. Like here in California, we have PG&E. So you may see, your solar power bill, and then if you go crazy one month on turning on the lights, then you might see another little bill from your PG&E or whatever provider you have. All right, so those are the components of getting solar. Now let's talk about how solar, how is solar relevant to the sun? What is this whole relationship between getting solar and sun exposure? All right, so let's talk about that. So first of all, the time of day really makes an impact on the production of energy as far as solar is concerned. Your solar production rises and falls with the sun. Okay, so you want to keep in mind that the more sun you have, the more solar power you have, basically. All right, so as the sun sleeps, you do not produce any solar power. All of your energy comes from your utility company. Okay. Why not use the battery to save you as much money as possible? Home batteries degrade with use, just like your cell phone. So we design your system to maximize the savings of every kilowatt. When utility prices are low, like overnight, using your battery does not save much money. so we won't. So in other words, guys, when it's nighttime and there's no sun, that's when energy is cheap anyways. Electricity is cheap. So we don't want to engage, your backup power supply and all these kind of things. It's fine just to use your, either your regular service provider, or in some cases we might use the battery. But the key is that we want to not, we want to make it to where solar is being used as an alternative when it is most effective, not during the times when it's not effective. All right, let's go on. Your solar system starts to produce, as the sun rises, your solar system starts to produce energy, which gets used immediately. You may still have to buy some additional energy from your utility. All right, so if your battery isn't already full, it will charge in the morning when utility prices are low. All right, so you guys can start to see that timing of the day has a impact on when you're getting solar, when you're powering your battery, and when you're using which energy. Either you're using solar immediately, or you're using power from your battery, or you might be using still your traditional power supply or power source. As the sun peaks in the sky, you are producing as much solar energy as possible. This likely means you are producing more energy than you can use. Extra energy is sent to the grid in exchange for billing credit from your utility. Okay, where does my solar power actually go? Your home gets the first crack at using the solar energy you produce. If you are producing more than you are using, it will go to the battery. If the battery is full, it is sold to your utility company for a handsome profit. So if you're not using the energy, it goes in the battery. If the battery's full, then it goes back to the grid, and that gives you a credit on your billing. All right, so as the sun sets, production declines, demand soars, and your battery fills in the gaps. As utility rates skyrocket, your system pulls energy from the battery as well as the grid, protecting you from high prices. Your battery will never empty. Your battery will never empty. We designed your system to reserve at least 20% of its charge for emergencies like power outages. All right. As the sun sleeps, your solar production returns to zero, and all of your energy comes from your utility. Your system sleeps with one eye open. Don't worry if the indicator lights are off. Your system is just resting, but it still has one eye open on one eye on your utility. If there's an outage, your battery will spring into action to provide seamless backup power. All right, so that kind of gives you an idea of how the time of day, how the sun, interacts with your solar system, and when is your solar system active to provide you solar power. All right, so with that being the case, obviously we can look at when solar is the most and when it's not the most, but remember, this is around this time in the setting time, that's when the rates are the highest. So that's when solar is most important. In a power outage, you still have power. Your neighbor's lights may go out, but yours won't, thanks to your bright box battery backup. So the good news is that if the grid goes down, you still have that battery that's filled with 12 to 18 hours of power. In an outage, your battery is designed to last through the night and recharge in the morning. What's backed up during a power outage? What parts of your home did you choose to back up during installation? And how hungry are they for energy? The more energy they use, the faster they empty your battery. How long until morning? For a typical setup, we expect your battery to last you between 8 to 12 hours when fully charged. If that won't be long enough, try cutting back on how much power you are using to buy some extra time. What happens during a daytime outage? Your panels will continue to produce energy for you to use and store. Power will be limited to the breakers you choose to back up during installation. So you're going to choose what part of your house to back up. But if there's a daytime outage, then your battery kicks in to provide protection or to supply with energy or electricity. More light equals more power. On a clear day, your system thrives. Your panels are making the most of a beautiful day by producing up to 100% of their potential. On a cloudy day, your system continues to produce energy. Your solar panels can still produce 10 to 25% of their typical output on a cloudy day. And on a rainy day, your system still produces a little bit of energy. Rain clouds block a lot of sun, but you can still expect around 10% of your typical production. So the key there is that as long as it's daytime, you're going to get something. At nighttime, okay, maybe nothing. But during the day, you're going to get something. How the changing seasons affect solar. These are important questions that people ask, right? When people are thinking about, well, if I get solar, when is it not going to be helpful to me? When do I have solar for no reason, right? Because they don't see the benefit during certain times or during certain situations. We design your system with all 4 seasons in mind. We expect you to use more power in the summer and less in the winter. And thankfully, solar production peaks and dips at exactly the same times. In the spring, the sun is getting higher in the sky, and each day is longer than the day before. Solar production is on the rise. Summer, the sun is high, the days are long, solar production is peaking. During the fall, the sun is retreating, and each day is a little shorter than the last. Solar production is falling. And during the winter, the sun is low and the days are short. Solar production is limited. All right. So here, we're going to learn about how, just because you got solar, it doesn't mean that you are completely free of your utility company. I know a lot of people are like, hey, how can I just cut the umbilical cord now on that dang thing? and I don't ever want to talk to them again, right? But in fact, they still play a vital role in your solar system. Okay, so it says you will still receive a bill from your utility company. How much energy you end up having to buy from your utility depends on the size of your solar system and how much energy you're actually using. Because of the weather and seasonal changes, your utility bill will vary. It helps to think about your energy cost on a yearly basis. The billing credits you earn in summer will help offset your energy costs in the winter. So keep in mind that even though you have a solar system, it doesn't mean you are completely off the grid. You will still have times when you are using more energy than you're producing with your solar system. And then in an instant, you are now paying for power provided by your utility company. For example, Northern California, we have PG&E. So you may very well see a PG&E bill along with your solar bill, okay? And if you do see that, it's simply because either A, there wasn't as much solar exposure on your panels like in the winter. So your panels aren't working as efficiently in the winter because there's not as much sun. So you might in the winter expect to pay a little more to your utility. In the summertime, however, man, you might see some credits on your bill, right? Because there's more sun, but you have to look at it for the whole year and kind of balance it out. To save as much money as possible, deploy energy efficient lights and appliances, adjust your thermostat, and don't go overboard. Okay, just because you have a solar system, it doesn't mean party like rock stars all night long. All right, every night in the pool, okay, and the hot tub. So you know, you want to keep that in mind. And when you look at what appliances suck up the most power, it's going to be that air conditioning. Of course, we have washer dryers, the pool pumps, dishwashers going, microwave, electric water heater, air conditioning. All of this takes up power, but the air conditioning is the leading cause of high utility bills. Something to keep in mind. All right, so here's, I think, this part here, I think, is most important, because a lot of people say, well, what happens if, right? Well, what happens if something happens, right? Well, the good news is Sunrun, the #1 solar company in the country, in the US, has a Sunrun Guarantee. We've got your back. We'll handle system maintenance and repairs for the full length of our agreement. We have an entire team dedicated to keeping an eye on your system and making sure it thrives. So think about it like having a home security system, you know, and everyone, you know, it feels much better when oh, well, it's a monitored system, right? Because in case something happens, I want somebody to know right away, and a call goes out and the cavalry comes in, right? Well, your solar system is the same way. If your solar system doesn't produce the energy that we guarantee, then we will be notified immediately. And then we can come in and make whatever repairs or adjustments necessary. If anything unexpected happens, our monitoring team will identify the issue and provide a solution. Okay. So that gives you a brief outline of what solar is, how does it work, and, you know, hopefully listening to all that information is plenty of information to know that going solar is an intelligent decision. It's an intelligent decision to go solar for all the reasons there. So oops. Let me just get some mute action going on there. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about then is the offer of solar. Like, what are we offering with solar? You know, and once you decide to go solar, what's the difference? What's the difference between regular power and solar power? So what do we get, and what are the benefits, right? Well, first and foremost, let's talk about how typical power is generated. And I think this will make, you know, this will really clarify why anyone should go ahead and consider solar, because to provide power to their customers, every utility company has costs that they transfer to you. So, you know, solar power, or how you choose your power, is more of a financial decision probably than anything else. And a lot of people don't realize, but we take for granted just flipping on the light switch, right? And voila, we have light or power. You know, if I turn off the light, turn on the light, we just take that little action for granted so much. But in fact, there's a lot that goes into providing power to your home. So the first thing is the generation process. Traditional power is generated at a power plant by burning unsustainable resources like coal and oil. Okay, and that doesn't even really speak to how we acquire that coal and oil. Okay, so that's where you know, the power that you use to, you know, power your house, that's where it starts from, is the generation process. Then we have the transmission process. Transmission, that energy is then transmitted from the power plants to the transmission substations. All right, so we got a couple of leaps involved. You know, energy is going from one place to the next. Remember, there's those big towers with big wires and all these kind of things going on. Then we have distribution. The power is then distributed across the grid to individual homes, individual homes. So it has to, if you ever drive down the street and you kind of look over to the right and you see those little stations there that have all those knobby looking, science fiction looking little things poking out of it, that's the distribution center. Okay. So then we finally get that power to our homes. With the traditional power model, you depend on non-renewable energy with high or unpredictable rates. Okay, so obviously we can see that through this whole process, not only is it unsustainable, non-renewable, you have to blow up the planet to get the coal and oil and all these kind of things. It goes through all of these resources utilizing, power lines and towers and all these kind of things. And then finally, you can turn your light switch on. Okay, it's not the most effective or efficient way to provide power. Now let's look at solar. Okay, notice it's a very much more a condensed version of getting power. With Vivian or Sunrun Solar, the process is simplified. The solar system collects the energy directly from the sun and converts it into usable electricity to power your home, providing you with cleaner and cheaper electricity. Your home will remain connected to the power grid for times when your solar system is not producing power. All right, so we don't ever want your lights to go out. So we will keep you connected to the main grid. But I think what's key to understand here is that solar panels collect sunlight and create energy currents right from your own roof. It inverts energy conversion. Inverters take the energy currents created by the solar panels and converts it into usable electricity. Net metering measures the electricity your system produces versus how much is sent back to the grid. And voila, power your home with renewable energy that all started with the solar panels. Produce, consume, and enjoy, all contained right here at your home. Okay, so that's the comparison of how you would typically receive power from your utility versus solar. Now, this part I enjoy talking about the most. And here's why. Because I talked to a friend the other day. And I know my friend, we have a lot of the same friends, a lot of people that are talking about solar and this and that. So I know she already has been approached by solar. Okay, people trying to sell solar. And so I started the conversation by asking her. I said, hey, I said, how many people or how many times have you been approached by solar? And she said, oh my God, a million times. This person, that person. And these are all friends of mine, right? So this person, that person, they all. And I said, well, how come you said no to all of them? Because I know she doesn't have solar. And she said, oh, well, because, it's some debt that they put on my credit report. There's some lien on my home and, all of this kind of stuff. And I said, oh, okay. I said, what if you can get solar without any of all that stuff? No lien, no loan, no lease, and nothing on your credit. It's not a debt or anything like that. How would that sound? She said, oh my God, that would be so much better. She said, I'm actually interested in solar. I just don't want all of that stuff to go along with it. Now, saying that, some people want, a lien, a loan, pay it off and own it and all these kind of things. But what I found is a lot of people don't want to have anything to do with all of that loan, lien, lease stuff, and they just want solar power. Okay, so introducing the power purchase agreement. Take advantage of solar power without needing to purchase a solar system. A PPA, power purchase agreement, gives you a single low rate. Vivian Solar or Sunrun, okay? Vivian is now a Sunrun company. Sunrun Solar will design, install, maintain, and monitor the solar system. In return, you just pay Sunrun Solar for the power produced by the system at a single low rate of kilowatts per hour. The rate will increase only 2.9% a year, giving you peace of mind and more predictability. So imagine that, folks. You don't have to purchase a solar system. All we do is put it on your roof, and you just buy the solar power from us that we're producing through the solar panels. Okay, there's that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about Vivint and Sunrun. Okay, Vivint Solar, which is a Sunrun company, I feel like I have to say that over and over again, is one of the largest vertically integrated residential solar providers in the nation. As a matter of fact, Vivint Solar was number 2 in the nation next to Sunrun, which was number 1. But as you can see through the growth of Vivint Solar and Sunrun, respectively, it was just earlier this year that Vivint became a Sunrun company. Okay, so obviously, being the number 1 company in the solar industry in the U.S., tons of awards. And then, we are in 22 states around the nation providing solar for many of these places that you see here, for all of them in the blue. All right. Okay, so let's talk about let's wrap this up and talk about what does it take to get solar? Because while solar might be a fantastic idea, and a lot of people get excited about getting solar, there are some qualifications that you have to satisfy in order to get solar. One, you have to be a homeowner, can't be a renter, and then get a solar system put on your house for 25 years. Okay. You need a passing FICO score of 650 or above. And that's the way that works. To ensure that the home is in good standing and that you have a history of paying your bills on time, the homeowner needs to have a FICO score of 650 or above. Then we have to calculate sun hours. We'll make sure your home receives enough sun to produce power. So we'll measure the amounts of sun hours your home receives and ensure that you can produce the minimum required amount of power at your home. Roof and electrical. Your roof and electrical system must meet the requirements for solar. A trained and certified site surveyor will perform an inspection to ensure the electrical system's capacity as well as the quality and condition of the roof. So I think the thing to understand here is that we're not going to just go to any structure and slap some solar panels on it. Okay. There's going to have to be quality assurance, and the county, the city has to get involved, the county has to get involved. There's all these kinds of things that have to take place in order for solar to be put on your roof. Now, let's say you're excited about solar and you want to get some right away. I want some of that solar. Well, hold up, okay? slow your roll, okay? The fact is that it takes a little while to get all of the processes in order. In some markets, it's as fast as 30 days. And in some other markets, like Hawaii, it might be as long as 3 months before you get your consultation done and say, yes, that's what I want, to flip the light switch on, and now I'm using solar. Okay. So there's the consultation. We'll show you the options you have as you take steps towards going solar. Then we will design a custom proposal to fit your home and your needs. You got to understand that solar is not like just a universal thing and just, a blanket solution for everybody that has a home. Some homes obviously need more panels, some need less. There are structural things that are different about homes that require, a survey team to go out and take a look at things. Site survey. We will perform our 86-point inspection to ensure your home is eligible for solar. And then we install the system. Our install crew will come to your home on the day and time scheduled to lay the panels. And then activation. We work with you, your city, and local utility for final permission to operate the system. Okay. And then congratulations, you now have solar. All right, so with that, let me just go ahead and turn back my attention to you guys that are on the call right now. Is there any questions that anyone has about anything that we've reviewed about solar You know, what do you pick up from this conversation? What are some of the things that sort of you anchor with, and or any comments you want to make about what we discussed? You can just unmute yourself there, Jack.
There you go. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
What was that again? I'm sorry, I missed. I had to step away for a second. I apologize.
Oh yeah, I was just saying, is there anything about the information that we went over today that, you know, was a takeaway, something that stuck out, anything you have questions on, or any comments you want to make about the information that we went over?
No, the part about I've had a couple of people ask about battery backup and how that works.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that we have a couple of options for batteries. As far as the batteries go, I think there's the Tesla and then there's the LG.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And so does one of them give you more, like if someone says, I really want as much opportunity for battery backup as possible, is one larger than the other that gives someone more opportunity to have more battery backup?
From what I understand, there's not a whole lot of difference between the two. The difference might be negligible, and I think there is a demand, maybe a higher demand for the Tesla battery, but obviously it's the brand name that I think people are most attracted to. But I think in the Hawaii market, I think they only do Tesla over there. But as far as I've seen in the proposals that I've seen, most of the proposals resort to the LG battery, and I think the Tesla is considered an upgrade. However, I think something to be mindful of is the system is guaranteed for 25 years. So, you know what I mean? So what's the difference really? Obviously, everything is quality here. So, you know, if you're, and I think the Tesla battery costs a little more or something like that. So if the battery costs a little more, that might have an impact on you know, I don't know, your rate or whatever. But I think if it comes down to battery, there's not a real big difference between which one you select.
Yeah, I was just going to also say, Randy, I appreciate the time to point out specific stuff today. But in that tiles area, I just got into it yesterday. There's so much information to look through that we have plenty. It's just knowing where to go. You just kind of got to take the time to go through it all, you know?
Yes.
So I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. And I'll tell you guys this too. For becoming the, you know, for the agents, it's very important, I think, that you do the modules for the training first. I know there's a tendency to want to go, hey, well, let me look at all of the stuff, I want to see presentations and brochures and fun stuff. You know, trust me, there's plenty of time to look at all the fun stuff. But I'm going to suggest that as far as the training modules, get into that, take the weekend, knock it out so you don't have to look back on it. Because once you start on the modules, you want to get it all completed. Otherwise, when you back out of it and go look at something else, you kind of go, where was I again? Or, you know, what did I need to do? And then you're kind of, it's a little confusion. And
luckily I completed the modules and I sent the HIS app in, so I'm good to go.
That's great.
So I knocked that out yesterday. You're right.
That's
if
great.
You're going to do that stuff, knock it all out at one shot.
Knock it all out at one shot. Even though it's, you know, it's painful, you got to fidget in your chair a little bit, but knock it all out so you don't have to look back on that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Thank
you. Right on, Jack. Anyone else? Crystal, Danielle, Nathan? Any comments, questions? Was this helpful? You know? Excellent. I'll tell you guys, when we were in San Francisco for the meeting, you'll notice that the presentation I gave there was more of a from a corporate side, like from the iLeverage side, right? Like, what do we do as agents, the opportunity for solar and all these kind of things. But what I just gave now is more of the client side, right? We want to give some education. You know, iLeverage is all about empowerment and education. Well, we just use that same methodology and same practice with the solar. Just, learn to give the information. And I think it's no brainer at that point. It's a no brainer as far as why you would go solar. There's very few reasons why you don't go solar, right? So just provide that education and trust that people's intelligence will kick in and help them make the best decision.
I was just gonna ditto what Nada just said. I was in San Francisco also and enjoyed the training and the rollout of this iLeverage-Green, and I'm very excited about it. And today was really good because it just adds another layer of education, which is important for us right now. So
That's right. That's right. That layer of education. I made a link called whysolar.info, so in case you guys ever want to, plug into this, I'm going to do this every Wednesday for now at the same time, 3 p.m. Just, hey, in case somebody wants to get in as a rep or someone wants to get in with a client, and kind of let someone kind of learn about how solar works and stuff, then you can use this time for that kind of thing. Well, guys, thanks a lot for being here. I don't want to hold you up too long. We'll see you at another meeting, another event. You guys can reach out to me on the Slack group if you have any questions. All right.
Fantastic. Thank you, Randy.
Take care, guys. All right. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.